Hey guys, I'm Daniel from Builder Media, and today I'm going to be talking about mental health as an RT. If you're new to my channel, then you'll know that I usually talk about respiratory things and sometimes a little bit of traveling stuff. I kind of want to do things a little bit differently right now and talk about something a little bit more real, even though obviously the RT stuff is real. But I've been seeing a lot of people just going through a lot of stuff during this pandemic, and I kind of want to give you some pointers. Whether you're new to being an RT or you're still in school or you're just completely new to the whole healthcare world, I want to give you some pointers as to how to cope with a lot of mental health issues that come from the stress of our job. Now, as an RT, you're going to see a lot of people die. You're going to see a lot of people suffer. You're going to see tragedy. It's going to be a really difficult thing on you. Honestly, there's days where you really get PTSD from seeing something and you try to hold back and be in denial, but it's really difficult. You come home, there's times where you have nightmares, and as much as everybody wants to be tough, there's days where you're in the middle of a code. It's somebody that's your age or somebody that you got a really close connection to over the time that they were there. Once they call the code, the person ceases to exist. The family comes in. They start crying, saying goodbye to their loved ones. It becomes so difficult to deal with it, and you're so overwhelmed that you want to cry, you want to let all that out. And oftentimes as RTs, because we see this stuff so much, it's not like we're shunned or it's not like we're told not to cry, but you kind of want to hold it up and act like you're kind of tough and it's okay. Even though you kind of see everybody and everybody has tears in their eyes, and it's really difficult dealing with this. We don't necessarily have the best support system in our hospitals, as far as I know. As RTs, we kind of toughen it up. I don't really express my emotions at work, and for the most part, my coworkers, most of them, although you see it in their eyes and you know that they're going through something after seeing somebody die that they took care of for weeks, we kind of try to be tough about it and just kind of brush it off. Try to change the topic or maybe talk about something else just to not have to deal with what the problem is that we're facing. But like I said, you're going to come home a lot as an RT, as a nurse or doctor or anybody in the healthcare field. You're going to see a lot of people suffering. You're going to come home and you're going to take that with you. There's still people that I remember their last words. They said there weren't any family members around. It was just staff. And they said a few words, and within 20-30 minutes they were gone. I remember a lot of people that passed in front of me, and you don't really forget their face. You know, it's been years and you still remember that one random face, and you could be having a good day, everything's fine, and all of a sudden you kind of have a flashback to a moment, some kind of smell or some kind of memory triggers that, whether it's something you saw or whatever's going on in your life, and you get taken back to that moment and you kind of are face to face back with the person that their life left in front of you. And so, sorry for my little long rant, but I want to give you the tools to at least deal with this better, have a little bit stronger mental health. You're going to see a lot of stuff. It's undeniable that you're going to be faced with a lot of trauma, with a lot of suffering. But the best we could do is at least have some tools at our disposal to overcome those things that we see. So the first thing I'm going to recommend to get over the things you see at work, even if you don't necessarily think it was that bad, I recommend detaching from work. And what I mean by that is when you're off, completely do not think about work. Do everything in your power to distract your mind, do something else. If you like watching movies, do that. If you like reading or have some other hobbies like going to the gym or running, do that. Focus on something else. A lot of people that I know come home from work and they still obsess about work and they think about it. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, but I think that sooner or later you're going to have to move on and just kind of completely detach yourself from work. If you take all of the stuff you see at work to your house, you're just going to have a really miserable time, because eventually that house is also going to bring you back those memories. It's the place that you came home and finally let go of all the stuff and just kind of cried or whatever. There's nothing wrong with crying. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But I think the better thing to do is just kind of keep your home life separate from your work life. Try not to intermingle too much. That could go as far as not making friends at work. That's not necessarily what I'm telling you to do. I don't think there's a problem with having friends at work. I think it's more about when you're at home, have a set boundary that's what that is. It's kind of like a lot of people at the dinner table don't talk about politics. you just don't bring that kind of thing into that. Try to keep your home, your area where you live, almost like a sanctuary where you don't necessarily talk about that or think about that. It is good, especially after a long day, to talk about something. I would probably just try to do that away from your house. Keep your house away from work. Have them two separate. That's my first piece of advice. The second thing I recommend that you do is find someone to talk to. This doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a therapist or somebody you're paying for. It could be a spouse, it could be a friend, a close friend. It could even be a coworker. Now, obviously, we have HIPAA guidelines. You can't give personal information or any kind of identifiers. So don't get yourself in trouble talking about what you saw at work or who did what or any of that stuff. You could talk about the overall picture without having to get into details. If you really seen somebody go through some suffering at work, talk to that person. Just let them know how you feel. You don't even have to really talk about what happened at work. You could just talk about how you feel. And a lot of times you feel helpless, but just letting it out, just talking to someone is going to help you out tremendously. Carrying this weight by yourself is pretty difficult. And what is cool is that you do have coworkers that you could at least joke around with and talk to and do whatever you can to lighten the mood a little bit. But when you go home, you're by yourself. At least when you're driving home from work, your thoughts are there. You're overwhelmed with what you saw at work. You're overwhelmed with what you experienced that day. And it's really good to have a person that you can communicate with. You also don't want to be that person that's always talking about work and, you know, my work is this, blah, 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 blah. But at least have like a good 30 minutes. Just say, hey, look, I need to vent to you. Can I just get this off my chest? Or 5 minutes, or I don't know, whatever's going on in your life, whatever you saw, just have someone to talk to. It's really important that you don't try to do this on your own. Even having a pet, just talking to your pet, I mean, it might be weird, but it's going to help you cope with that better, just getting it off your chest, sharing that, just what you're suffering. It's going to help you feel a lot better. It's going to overall help your mental health, just sharing that thing that's holding you down and the thing that you witnessed or whatever it could be. The third thing that I recommend is going to be definitely to get your rest and also get your health in order. There's days where you come to work really tired, and any little thing can only exacerbate your mental health. You are in an industry that's really stressful, whether people admit it or not, whether people are aware of it or not. You have a really stressful job. And if you, let's say, miss out on 1 or 2 hours on one day, and then the next day you come into work, you miss out another 1 or 2 hours, you're really gonna feel fatigued, tired, and mentally not able to deal with the stuff at work. And it's just gonna make overall your work a lot worse. There are jobs where you could come to work tired. I don't think a job that has this much stress deserves a lack of sleep. Now, there are times where you obviously can't get enough sleep. You have kids or whatever else is going on in your life. But if you don't have that, or if you can kind of get that in order, get as much sleep as you possibly can. It's going to help you deal with things a lot better. It's going to help you think clearer. And overall, you're just going to feel a lot better. With that, though, I also recommend that you kind of take your health into your hands. Now, I'm not saying go to the gym and look like me or whatever. I'm just saying get your health in order. Start eating a little bit healthier. Drink a lot of water. Do whatever you need to do to get healthy. If you consume a lot of alcoholic beverages, maybe cut that out. Maybe cut it in half. If you smoke or do whatever else you do, try to cut that in half. Eliminate that stuff from your life. Having a good, healthy organism is going to help you a lot better. Having all the vitamins you need, having everything in your life that you need from your diets and have your nutrients is going to help you a lot when it comes down to being exposed to certain bacteria and viruses. Now, keep in mind, you're tired, you've been running around a few miles during the day, and all of a sudden you get exposed to some kind of virus. Who has a better chance of fighting off that virus? Even if it's not that much of a viral load or that much of a bacterial load that you're exposed to, who has a better chance? The person who's fully rested, who eats a really good diet, who doesn't really have any vices that really kind of wear them down, or the person who just came back from like a weekend in Vegas who didn't sleep for a few days. The person who just spent a few days not sleeping and not eating well is not going to have the ability to fight off whatever they're faced with at work, because you are in a really dangerous environment. So I recommend overall staying healthy, staying in shape, doing whatever you could do to kind of master your own body's health. and that's gonna eventually transfer into a good, healthy mind. These are things that I think can help you out if you're going through anything, or if you're just starting off and you don't really know what to expect. You are going to be faced with a lot of problems. These are things that I think are going to help you a little bit. So let me know if you like these pointers. There are more things I could recommend. If you want me to make another video about this, let me know. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good rest of your day and stay mentally healthy.